your preparation, no matter how weird, bring it to set. Like, I feel like so many times we're trying to like have these conversations and jokey or whatever because you're trying to like also network, and then you go on and you're not really in the moment.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Talent Agent Talk, where we are bringing you educational lessons and real-life stories behind the scenes of TV and film. I'm your host and a talent agent, Jason Lockhart, and today we have a very special guest in Miss Mandi Kerr.
Hello.
Hi, Mandi.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Jason, for having me. This is so fun, and I feel like I have these conversations a lot with people like that are just coming to Atlanta, and it's cool to like be able to have like an official like conversation about like just experiences. I feel like we all genuinely want to know what's going on with other actors, and we don't always get to know the stories. So,
and you've been in this market a long time. I mean, enough to really see the shift and to work in it a lot.
Yeah, it's special. I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of us too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really proud of you. I love your story of auditioning for The Walking Dead for one line.
I know.
And then doing 22 episodes.
Like that. The thing is, I know there's a time like all of us have these huge, like these bodies of work, and at some point you're like, I don't want to audition for a co-star or a one line. Like I'm ready to move on from that. But that situation with The Walking Dead, a one line audition that I basically just threw away. I mean, you can't put too much into it, right? It ended up being 22 episodes, 7 seasons of The Walking Dead. And when I talk about a masterclass, being on that set, like, just so invaluable. Yeah.
Who do you think you learned some of the most stuff from?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I think the cool thing about my role, which started off, by the way, as mother number 1, and I did not think I was coming back. And then I got a name, Barbara. A lot of times there was a group of us that were cast to be part of Alexandria. And so there were so many days that I would be there and there wouldn't be a lot of pressure on me, like as far as dialogue and action, like, so there were a lot of times I got to sit and watch. And Andrew Lincoln, you know, the number 1 on that show, he probably taught me the most. And I think I probably had a handful of conversations with him, but watching him, because some days I could observe more than really concentrate on what I needed to be doing. When I tell you, he would do every single take, like full out.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Well, for me, as somebody who was growing and learning, like I had worked before, but I didn't know that, like, a lot of times people wouldn't give me anything back when it wasn't their coverage. And he was such a leader. Like, if he was doing a huge speech, he would do it over and over full on. The cameras would come back to like the group of us listening, and he would do his performance full on. I'm not even kidding. After he's already done this emotional speech, full on for us to react to.
Wow.
Like how giving. And that set the tone. That set the tone for everybody to do like their best work every time. Never complaining, never an ego. And it made that set so warm to be on. His example. And I think there were a lot of people that were really amazing, but I feel like he really set the tone for all of us. And if I ever get the chance one day to be a number 1, I want to be that kind of leader.
Right. So they're talking about you like that.
Yeah.
But you can even do that on a commercial set.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I was a kid, I did a commercial with Mark Hamill, and he was wrapped and they said, you're done. And then we're going to get the kids coverage. And same thing. He goes, nah. And he's like, I got to be here for the kid.
Right.
And then they're setting up, moving the lights and everything. And he like whispers to me, he's like, half the time that we were doing Empire, Yoda was in the fucking shop. Well, he's like, so I get it. You don't want to act to nothing. That's amazing to hear Andrew Lincoln doing that.
Yeah, and the other thing is about him is like he I think that's a later question. We'll talk about it in a minute. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So work ethic and just like you don't always have to act like the ego. You can just be a human. Like everybody after being there for so long, everybody plays such an important part, even the background artist. Like, of course, they're such an essential part, like just treating everyone so well too. It did not matter to him who anyone was. He was so kind. Yeah.
I bet you were too, though. Like, there's a reason why because I know there were other actors that were part of the Alexandria world that did not continue on as long as you did.
Every week, Jason, when I tell you every week, a lot of times, I don't know if it always happened like that, but especially like at the beginning, that you would not find out you were going to die, even the series regulars, until the script came out. So all of us were like, because that would be every episode, someone would die.
But the fact that you did 22 episodes means 21 times they chose not to kill you, which says something about you too and what you probably brought to set. You know, the energy you brought, the work ethic you brought.
Well, I think that, and I always say this to people, like, you need a full life. If acting is everything and you have nothing, like you're not hanging out with your friends, like you're so focused, there is like value in work ethic in that way. But like I had 2 kids on that show. I was pregnant twice on that show. And over time, we had young Judith, we had all these kids. And a lot of times I think I would be brought on because those kids needed to be there and I was part of the story too, but I knew how to interact with them. Like being in the middle of the woods and there are kids running around and they're supposed to be with an adult, I could act through it and interact with the kids because I had this life at home as a mom. And so I feel like going on with my life and having a life and enjoying my life outside of it helped me through that role too.
Yeah, 100%. And I remember the first time that we like hung out socially was when you said, do you and your wife want to come see Wicked with my husband
so
and I?
fun.
It was so fun. And I remember my wife saying, "Who are we going to meet?" And I said, "Her name's Mandi Kerr, and her husband works in the industry too." And but I actually don't know that much about her. She's not one of those actors.
Yeah.
She doesn't bother me. She doesn't hit me up all the time about random things. Like I know she's a mom and she's very sweet. And that was really all I knew about you.
So
and that you
sweet.
turned in every tape on time and were professional,
I try.
Which just goes to show exactly what you just said. Like you're busy in your own life.
Yeah.
Focused on life, not focused on the obsession with, the next audition.
Actors, listen up. The Southeast is one of the top markets in the film and TV industry, and get ready for a career transformation like never before. Walk away with leveled up mindset and unshakable confidence. Breakout workshops to elevate your craft, incredible agents and casting directors who will help shape your career path. This is more than just a weekend. This is your chance to build on your craft and grow your community. The career you want starts here. The question is, are you ready to own it?
Right, because it's out of our control. That's the thing. And a lot of times I will have a gut, like when I've been pinned for things, I will know.
Like the
almost
Marvel
when
one.
I put it. Listen.
We were so close.
So, yeah, that's your question later. But that world, the period world, oh my gosh. That's like, yeah. Anyway, that's my dream. That's like, I want to do that so much.
I think you'd fit really well in the period world. I mean, I think it's a look thing, but it's also an energy thing.
Yeah. Wait, but can I tell you something, one more thing about Walking Dead?
Please
that
do.
I feel like I had auditioned for that show even before the one line, like 12 times. And it was huge at the time, Jason. It was like
the biggest show in the
breaking
world.
records, 17 million viewers every week. And I mean, I hesitate to say this because I feel like people are like, oh, that's how it happened. Because my husband's a first AD, and I don't know if he was a first AD at that time on the show, but he was working on Walking Dead. And he was like, hey, there's a group of like featured background artists that are gonna be like pulled along to all these things. And I bet we could get you in there. And I like sat with it. And I was like, no, like I'm gonna wait. And it was the next one. It was a week later. I got an audition. And you know as well as I do, like the audition came from casting, who it's nothing to do with like my husband like being a first AD, but I think sometimes we're like, why am I reading for this again? But sometimes it's just like the one more, right?
And you still earned it.
Yeah.
You know what I
worked
mean?
my butt off. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think you have to earn everything in life.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's more rewarding.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want anything given to me ever. Yeah, for
But
sure.
your first TV film credit, wasn't that given to you from a...
Okay.
Let's go back. Let's go way back.
Okay.
So was it 2011?
So, yes. And I had just graduated theater school.
From where?
And Columbus State University. Shout out. Meisner program there, Larry McDonald. I don't know if you'll ever see this, but I loved my teacher there. So I was coming back to Atlanta because my family lives here, and I was going to save up money and, go to LA or whatever. But I was doing theater with, I feel like Matt Cornwell was there. It was a long time ago. There was a group of local actors doing like basement theater. And when I tell you some nights we had 10 people in the audience, it was in a church. I don't even remember, in like Decatur. And the cast of Necessary Roughness, like a few of the actors came to support our local project. And afterwards, they were like mingling in the waiting area. And I had this conversation with Scott Cohen, who's one of the leads. He did Gia with Angelina Jolie. And I was like, well, first of all, I asked him his advice being a green actor. And he was like, just keep going. I got my first role in my 40s. He was really complimentary. And then I got an audition for Necessary Roughness like a week later. And it turns out like he had gone to the executive producers and said, we should have her do this. And it was his assistant on the show. So like my first role was lots of dialogue, like really anxious girl, like moving all over. And coming from the theater, Jason, I was used to rehearsing everything and having it down. But we were rehearsing. They were marking me as they do. And then we shot it. And I just ate it. Like the first take, I forgot my first line. I just walked out of the room. I missed the marks. Training. This is when I say, so I go
There's so much pressure.
No, I was turning red. I was like having a full panic attack, I think, which... now looking back, it's like that was such a cool opportunity, and we shouldn't sleep on like doing theater and being involved. But I do think training like film is very different than theater, and you have to learn the craft. But after my first like setup, I went and sat in my chair, and the executive producer was like, I gotta drink some of this. The executive producer sat down next to me and she was like, honey, is this your first job? Jason, I was like, yes, it is.
That's so terrifying.
And then I just kind of like sunk into myself. It ended up being fine. Like we're hard on ourselves. Like what the final product ended up being great, but I look back on that and think like I'm so thankful for that opportunity, but I wish I had been more prepared for what it is. And it's just different, you know what I mean?
I mean, that's a really great lesson for anyone who might be watching who has never done TV film, but wants to. It is a different beast than theater.
Yeah. I mean, I had a degree in acting and directing. Like, but it is not the same.
So how do you approach things now? Do you have a method? Is there something that you do when you get an audition that is kind of routine for you, that puts you at a comfort place or an exciting place or at ease?
I like to, everybody's so different, and I'm not saying this is the right way, but I really like to know the words rote. Sometimes there's not time, but I like to have them in my bones so then I can authentically react. So that's what I do, and then I go through and I find myself in the role, and I really just give myself, because if I've learned anything, it's like I am the only person that can be me and bring me.
Absolutely. Oh, what a gem. What a gem of a lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what you bring to it will stand out.
Yeah.
If it's authentic.
Yeah.
If they're going to watch 70 tapes and narrow it down to 15, how do you stand out?
Yeah. And I have friends that are in my category with red hair, and I can see that my essence is so different. So if I try to like vary away from that, I can see, like, when I watch the tape, I don't quite like it. Like, it's just not quite right. There's something off. It doesn't come across as truthful
Interesting.
for me.
That's great, though, that you can recognize it in yourself, too, because you
Yeah.
probably feel it, but then you get the pleasure of watching it back,
Yeah.
too, you know?
Yeah.
Does Matthew usually tape with you, your husband?
Yes, which, sorry. Yes. And he focuses a lot on the technical. So sometimes I'm like, just leave it alone. It's okay. Let's just have a conversation. So
That's good teamwork, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, he can work on that, and you're the artist.
Yeah.
Of the
Yeah.
the inner piece. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And so you say your dream role would be something in the classical or period kind of world?
Yeah.
Which
like
period?
A Pride and Prejudice. Like, I don't know. I just love the groundedness of so many of those films. Just like the bare face, maybe a little dirt, and just the simplicity of a lot of those scenes are just the back and forth, the organic back and forth. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you know what's funny? Like as an agent, we kind of look for the essence of an actor.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that makes you stand out in your essence is just like the epitome of sweetness. Like kindness, sweetness. I mean, I was even joking with Jessie before you got here. I was like, she's just one of the sweetest women I've ever met.
Oh my gosh.
And I think if you continuously bring that
Yeah.
to tapes, and to set, like that's your superpower.
Thank you.
So it's kind of figuring out what that is. And maybe that's, I could be wrong, but that's what I think.
Yeah.
And what I push and believe in. And
Yeah.
I think if as long as you know what it is for you,
Yeah.
I think it'll help you achieve all of the roles you want to get.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, we're storytellers, right? We're capturing humanity. So having a heart for each other is like, what else is there? Yeah.
Well, spoken by you. Everybody might have something different to say.
Yeah, I know. You're right.
Oh, that's great. Well, any
Yeah.
other big final lesson after 7 seasons and 22 episodes of one of the biggest shows in the world? Is there any final last nugget of information you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah. I think that the other thing, just being a watcher for a lot of that job, your preparation, no matter how weird, bring it to set. Like, I feel like so many times we're trying to like have these conversations and jokey or whatever, because you're trying to like also network, and then you go on and you're not really in the moment. And I'm probably saying this and everybody's like, yeah. But when I tell you like some of the like big emotional scenes, they would outright gutturally scream at the top of their lungs, like, over and over before the take. Merritt Weaver, she's incredible. She would go off, like everybody else would be talking and she would always be off in her corner. Sometimes people would do jumping jacks to try to like get their air flowing. And if one thing I noticed, like some of the smaller roles would come in and they would be like trying to do their prep like low, and nobody cared. Like if they weren't rolling and you were screaming bloody murder and you needed that, Nobody blinked. Nobody batted an eye. That's hard to know when you're not at work every day with everybody. Especially, I feel like co-stars are the hardest to do because you're walking in and out of like a foreign environment where you don't know anyone. But you can do prep and it can be huge, and you can be weird as bleep on set and nobody cares. Just do what you need to do to get that take.
Wow, I'm so glad we asked you that, because what a gift you're giving to other actors. You're giving them the freedom to do what they need to do in between takes.
Yeah.
Like, if the big stars do it, the small stars can do it. You know, every actor on the set has the ability to do what they need to do to get where they need to go.
Yeah, you're not stepping on any toes. They just want you to do your job. So if that looks weird, like, and you're just like running around, like, nope, literally nobody cares. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you, Manny.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thanks
And
for
as a token of appreciation for you being a guest here on our show, you've won a free car.
Yes.
You want to reach your hand in that Star Wars bag? Sarah Carpenter got me that bag, I like to say.
Of course she did.
Let's
She's
see
so
what,
sweet.
What'd you get?
Oh, I don't know. Oh,
You got a Tesla.
HW Green Speed. Okay. Oh, I did. That's fitting.
You got a blue Tesla.
That's fitting for being here.
That's pretty
the
cool.
The twin Teslas. I see them on the road.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm going to keep this, but I also can't guarantee it'll stay in the package
That's fine.
with my 3
We've had people
boys.
open it right here on the show.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you, too. It means the world that you came here and were part of it today.
Yeah. Thank you
So
for
shout
having
out to
me.
Alana, your manager, and Matthew, your husband. Big
She's
fan
amazing.
of them both.
Yes.
And
He's amazing too.
he is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Except the fact that he likes the Buckeyes.
Oh no. He's in trouble now.
Go Blue. Thank you again for being here. Thank you to our audience for tuning in. I hope you got something out of today. And if you have an exciting booking story from a lesson learned and want to be a guest here, feel free to pitch us your story directly. It's talentagenttalk@gmail.com. Again, that is talentagenttalk@gmail.com. Thank you so much, Mandy. Thank you.
Thanks again so much for watching. And if you loved that story and were interested to learn more about the casting office that actually cast that show, then I have some really cool news, because our sister show, Get Seen Unscripted, actually had them on the show. So you'll see it right here. Do not miss that episode. Over an hour on one-on-one with that casting director, talking about things that they like, don't like, to help give you the edge in your next audition. So thanks again so much for tuning in and watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you on the next one.